Welcome back to Match Night. This is O Canada, O Baby Part 2. Third game of the group stage for Canada. They take on El Salvador. They remain in Houston, Texas, Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific. Wheeler, Wilson, and Dunfield with you, making a triumphant return right here on One Soccer. Canada is just about advanced from the group. Winning the group should be priority, because then you end up taking on the second place team from Group C, then potentially playing the United States in a semifinal. Basically, you avoid Mexico and Panama, who I think most people think are Canada's most difficult competition heading deep into the Gold Cup. So what are we looking for here? As, yeah, they're not going to go, knock on wood, don't go out and lose 5-0 to El Salvador. But is it the result that matters most? Is it the type of performance? It's a look at certain different players in a different way, Terry. What are you looking for in that El Salvador match?
To get back to Honduras, I think there's some good stuff in the Curacao game, but I probably would future cast it that El Salvador probably have more possession than Canada. So I'm probably spending a little bit more time without the ball. Okay, here's where we're going to be very good. Here's where we're going to win it. Here's what it's going to look like in transition. Those would be the two moments I'd be spending a bit of time.
I feel like that's when Canada's at their best.
Yep.
When they give up the ball for long stretches, just because when the game starts to resemble more of a track meet, a track race, then you just can't touch Canada. So. Yeah. Especially in the hot conditions, Jordan, that's probably the way forward, and it's going to be a pro-El Salvador crowd down there as well.
I think specifically to the front foot. You mentioned track race, but it's like, okay, the pass is going here, we're pressing, and we're moving as a unit, and we're hunting together. That's what Jesse Marsh has trained this team, to play and to make sure that they win the ball high up the pitch. And when they don't have the rhythm or the momentum's not on their side, I think they struggle in matches. So what do I want to see against El Salvador? I want to see a better starting 11. I want to see maybe more chemistry heavy into that match. And what I mean by that is if Cornelius is healthy, I want to see him play. I want to see a Richie Larea. I think you need to see a team that wants to go chase and win back the ball. I also want to see a Promise David start. Look, he scored 2 goals in 2 matches. He's 6'5". He scored 24 goals this season for his club. Like, this is the time to test these type of players in this tournament.
Let's go there and get to some of the decisions that need to be made. I mean, Promise David is the big one. We haven't seen Daniel Jebison either. Through 2 games, it's Taniolo O'Shea and Jonathan David. David might need a rest. Do you give him a little bit of a rest in this one, as difficult it is to bring him off? And Tanny, I think we know what Tanny time is all about. I think this might be the time to unleash the beast. Show some Promise David to show what he can do from the start. Maybe an extended time on the field, Terry.
I think if you go in that direction, one thing that you will get is physical superiority, especially against the El Salvadorians. He's a big profile. If he's going to play, I'd make sure I've got wide players on their strong foot, or fullbacks on their strong foot, so you're getting crosses into the box. That's the type of service he really likes to live off. And then talking about the press, I don't think he's going to go out and win it and really turn the ball over. I think he'll push El Salvador in the right direction.
Is that why you think he's not starting? Like, what's the issue here? He's played 64 minutes, didn't play in the Nations League. It was maybe the hamstring that forced him off early, might have tweaked it against Ukraine. But is it a stylistic thing? Is it fitness?
I think players earn the trust of their manager by doing the things that they like. I think Jesse Marsh's system is very demanding, but it also requires for an attacker to be far more defensive-minded than you're used to. And maybe Promise David just hasn't shown that as quickly as other strikers.
He's had less reps too, probably.
Very true.
Yeah.
However, this is the time to play him, and how can he earn Jesse Marsh's trust other than playing him in a situation like the Gold Cup to show what he can do? Personally, I could care less if he sits in a pocket and still scores a goal in the first. Like, you play the guy who's still doing product and showing productivity. So, for me, play him.
Yeah.
This is the time to do it.
I even kind of think, like, a Laren Jebo, a Laren Promise, like, that kind of works. Jesse's been using Laren kind of in the David role when David hasn't been been off the field. So that might be the combination that you can. You know, you have the old guard combined with the new blood, and that might be the right.
I don't think Tanny's been poor. I just think for playing 90 minutes and then also playing, I think, like 65 against Honduras, like, you got to switch.
Can't believe he played 90 minutes.
Like, you got to switch things up, keep them fresh.
I'd be surprised if he goes with an out-and-out front two. El Salvador's midfield three. I think you still have to, someone's got to deal with the deep liar. And I don't know if Larin and the big fella have enough pace to actually go and put enough pressure on the center backs in that heat consistently.
Interesting. See, that typically, that role, if you're going to take
Unless
away
you're going to
that-
go steamroll them.
Right. That might be the approach. We'll see. The one element that they lose is Jonathan Osorio has left Canada to go back to Toronto FC. He has a lower body injury. He's kind of been that hybrid guy that they've used, kind of in that role at times. But I just wonder what that means for the midfield for Canada. Saliba has been standout in this tournament. Really interesting profile as well. Partnered really well with Chouanier against Honduras. Eustachio, it looks like he'll be coming back before the end of this tournament. Canada results pending. And of course, Ismail Kone, who has all the talent in the world, but just finding that consistency, that kind of fit in the Canada team has been a bit of a challenge. So what do you make of the combinations as a former central midfield player, Terry, and the combinations that Marsh has at his disposal?
I don't miss this part of coaching. I think those are four really good players, and those are tough conversations to have. I think you're probably thinking, with all due respect to El Salvador, a little bit deeper in the tournament. I thought Kone was excellent in the last game. We missed his physical presence a little bit when he went off. Saliba seems to be the Rolls Royce in that midfield at just 21. He's had 80 games for Montreal now. He's developed really nicely. He's on his way to Europe. It'd be tough to leave him out of the side.
20 years a player he's like his profile as well, because he provides that legs, that element of consistency. That's the thing with Kone. It's just for what Marsh wants, he wants legs, players that are a bit, ready to push and press, Terry, and they just got to find the right players that will be disciplined in that approach.
4-moment players.
Yeah.
Players that have a real presence in 4 moments. And I think if Kone can add that to his game,
There's no question Kone has quality. I just think maybe he's picking the wrong moments to try to show some things at times. At least against Curacao. When you look at Chouanier and Saliba, they're making the right decision most of the time. And right now, Kone has bags of talent. Like, you see him on the ball, he does something different.
You saw it led to the corner.
For sure, but if you pick the wrong moments to do that, you end up being in a bad book with Marsh rather than Saliba and Chouanier. Not that they're playing it safe, but they're doing the things that he wants them to do. So you have to be careful.
So as we continue on this exercise of picking Jesse Marsh's team for El Salvador, we might as well deal with everything at the back. There were some people in our live reaction chat on One Soccer Direct on YouTube. They would like to see Max Crepeau play over Dane Sinclair. There's conversations about what to do at the back. You try to give Alistair Johnston some few minutes, even though Nico Sigor has been very good. Should Defugeroles come back in? I think that might be the case. And at left back, Zoran Basong has impressed me, but Richie Lurea also did really well in the first match as well. So some interesting decisions to make, Terry.
Yeah, maybe if we start at fullback, I think Basong and Seguer are center mid profiles. I think they're players that love to get forward, and at times it can leave your two center backs a touch exposed. And I think the system does that anyway, where Marsh expects his center backs to make plays. At times they'll be 1v1, at times they'll be overloaded. If I'm El Salvador, I'm going to keep my front three really narrow. But again, like, what's so cool about this team is just how deep they are, that we're having these conversations, that you can bring these players in. And I think Alistair Johnston almost gives you like almost another stay-at-home center-back profile. And I think he can smell it when he does need to stay, but he's also got quality to go.
Segura has really impressed me. 21-year-old, like, he can pop into the midfield, but also as a right back. Look, he's looked athletic, like quick, strong, great in 1v1 situations. I really like him, and I think, honestly, for the 23, for the World Cup, he's looking like a spot that might be secured.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see who he plays. I still think Richie Lurea has a significant role to play because of his versatility, what he brings on the field. There's some attitude and swagger, but I think it's done in a really good way for this team. He's just an interesting profile player and suits the way that this team wants to play it to a T.
To your point, too, before
even
Terry
up in
goes,
midfield, honest.
Yeah, but I think it's also the leadership aspect. He's not really like so much the rah-rah and always yelling, but he just leads by example. And I think that's infectious, specifically when you're going to play matches where Canada might not be the favorites. You have someone like that in your squad, Terry.
Yeah, I think I'll piggyback what you just said. It was kind of cool watching the last game. He's on the bench, and he was the first guy off the bench on the touch line, helping players through it, showing those type of leadership skills.
Terry, it's great to have you back. Don't be a stranger. I know you're going to be back on the touchline in no time. We'll see where, but in the meantime,
Thanks for
just
having
come
me.
back and hang out with us. And if you don't want to come back in the studio, then let's just go to the golf course. I'm staying away from any fishing excursion.
Seriously.
Thanks, Terry. And thanks to Jordan. And thanks to
Thanks,
our
guys.
entire staff for really putting in a shift today. Exceptional work as always, right here on One Soccer.